have been waiting for. You came here for a reason. Whatever.
Niggas in crypto, diamonds is dancing like they up in disco. You niggas in fist smoke, you stay up that dip low. You niggas stay up and get low. Heard you way up in Frisco, and you say what the heck so. Every player gets nipped nose, acting gay up in Cisco. Might take the day off and play up at Mistos, causing chaos and play up Calypso. I paused in kitchens and caused addictions. I paused prescriptions and caused inflictions. Lil Bixby playing in stores and bricks and on the dark web. You gotta pause every doors, cause encryptions. Tesla engines, pause the pistons. I seen every floor I leave sore and listing. For that action, they sponsored the Bronson. They was hooked on that shit like Johnson and Johnson. That freeway, Ricky Ross, straight out of Compton, straight out of Bompton. Red on blue, violence in the land. The projection of the will, the perfection of the kill, the reflection of the pills. I'm a frontline soldier, I'm no doja. These crystals not fun. Niggas in crypto, diamonds is dancing like they up in disco. You niggas in fist smoke, you stay up and dip low. You niggas stay up and get low. Heard you way up in Frisco, and you say what the heck so. Every player gets nipped now, acting gay up in Cisco. Might take the day off and play up at Mistos, causing chaos and play up Calypso. Hickory dickory down, hit a lick, put the sticky in the box. When the blicky get hot, lick off a shot. Heavy in the pedal, we slip off a knot. Heavy in the ghetto, they crib walk a lot. Crib walk the crypto, lift off the stocks. Drips off the crystal and pots. Disco rocks in the blocks on my chain from the crystal shop. In a light air, lift off the rock. Toe from the right chain on my block. White paint on my socks. White paint on my socks. Hickory dickory dock. Hit the lick, put the sticky in the box. When the blicky get hot, lick off a shot. We lick off a shot. Niggas in crypto, diamonds is dancing like they up in disco. You niggas in fist smoke, you stay up that dip low. You niggas stay up and get low. Heard you way up in Frisco, you say what the heck so. Every player gets nipped now, acting gay up in Cisco. Might take the day off and play up at Mistos, causing chaos and play up Calypso.
You Jews on the media, so I mean, come on. As you can tell by all the wonderful headlines you guys do. Maybe we should also ask a question.
Proud to be.
Peace, family. Peace, family. Peace to you and yours. Peace to you and yours. Peace to you and yours. Let me know how we sound, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know how we sound. Let me know how we sounding, and let me know how we're sounding.
To this day. To this day.
To
this day.
That's right.
To this day.
Talk to them.
To this day.
They supposed to know.
To this day.
What they talking about.
To this day.
Chat about.
To this day.
Bomber clot.
To this day.
Rotted.
To this day.
To
this day.
Yeah, I'm talking about. Yeah, to this motherfucking day, y'all. We up in this thing. Yeah, we up in this thing. We back up in this biatch like we never left up in this thing. Oh, we sounding good? That's what's up, man. Watch out, man. Watch out now. To this day, watch out now. So what's popping? First and foremost, I want to say shout out to everybody in the building. I'm going to just keep it a buck. Just start it out like this. I've been in a rabbit hole unlike any other fucking rabbit hole. I'm talking about I've been in Captain Kirk done set whoop-dee-doo, niggas, whoop-dee-doo. Captain Kirk done set off a motherfucking chain reaction that I cannot explain. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just coming up for
This
some
is
air.
Charlie Kirk's.
Do not take me serious. I'm only here for a moment. I'm coming in. I'm spraying this shit with roach spray and I'm dipping. This is a very heavy roach environment, y'all. This is heavy.
On the shot that right down.
This is a lot of pests in this environment right now, y'all. This is a heavily proliferated rat and roach infested environment, ladies and gentlemen. Tread wisely through this thing, man. Tread wisely through. I've been in Kirkwood, man. I've been in a motherfucking deep space. I've been in a rabbit hole. I call it Kirkwood, ladies and gentlemen. You know what I'm talking about? I've been in Kirkwood, man. God damn. Shit, bro. Now, here's something that I have to use as a disclaimer because I'm not about to get cursed out. I'm not about to get cursed out by Blue Pill because Blue Pill gave me a pep talk. It was more like a warning, you know what I'm saying? And you know, I gotta listen to my bro because when he's right, he's right. So his warning to me, it was almost like a threat. He's like, Negro. And he didn't say Negro either. He said, Negro. You are not to get on that internet talking about that you know who. Don't fall for the trap. Don't fall for the trap. Don't get caught slipping. Don't pop out and get popped on. And, you know, I listened. And I said, okay, all right. That you know what I mean? And it hurt me, bro. I'm not gonna lie. It hurt me to my core to not talk about this thing this strong. And I wanted to go live so bad. My fingers was itching. Y'all should have seen me with my hand on the button, hand shaking and everything. I'm trying to press the button because I want to talk to y'all. I just wanted to talk to somebody because God damn it. King Charles, what they call him, Big Charles. Pause. You know what I'm talking about? Mr. Charlie Wrangle. Yeah, he had me in a rabbit hole, man. He had me going down a rabbit hole. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. I got so much to talk about. Oh my goodness. But to stay in alignment with the agreement that I made with my broham, because I don't want to be on the bad side of Blue. I have to talk about this in a private space. And y'all have to understand what I mean by that, right? I'm going to talk about some stuff tonight, but the shit that I need to talk about, I can't talk about it on YouTube right now. I can't even talk it in Pig Latin, oxnay, ixnay. I'm going to talk about some things, but it's some things that I just can't talk about because of the algorithm and because of this witch hunt that they have on Mr. Charlie, right? So we put together something special, and we're going to be talking about this shit behind the paywall with the Patreons at the end of the month. Cause I got a lot to, I gotta talk my ish. How many of y'all remember this right here? Just to give you some insight on where we going with it. How many of y'all remember this right here? Now, what I'm gonna have to wind up doing is I'm gonna have to upload this to the YouTube. We did this in New Orleans. I don't think a lot of y'all saw this. We sold about 60 tickets, I think, online. That is not enough. The level of, I just want to share something with y'all when it comes to these lectures and why we do these lectures and literally what these lectures are about. So we are all on the same page. Me and my brother Blue are some of the most shadow banned individuals on the World Wide Web. They were shadow banning us before Rizza Islam. They were shadow banning us even before they caught on. I was getting shadow banned before House of Consciousness. How about that? Sinetta would put me to the side and be like, yo, they're shadow banning your videos only. I was shadow banned on Baba. I was shadow banned on Sinetta. Specifically, they singled me out. I was shadow banned on my channel and they took my channel. I've been shadow banned on Black Magic. So there's something about the algorithm. There's something about the signature. There's something about our quote unquote sonic ID that the brother named Young Elder. There's a brother named Young Elder. He had me on his channel. They took the damn video down the next day. There's a brother named Beyond 5D. He did an interview with me. They flagged him. There's just something going on when it comes to our voice and our message and what it is that they will allow us to say and what they won't allow us to say. Based off of the research that I'm doing right now, based off of the rabbit hole that I'm going on right now with this guy in this situation and everything that's being sparked out of it, bruh, this shit right here. Oh no, this is the one. This is the one. So MAGA Fest Destiny at the end of the month is coming back. Me and Blue, you better believe it. You know what I'm talking about? You please believe it. Please understand. Please know that when we come to y'all, we come to you in a sense where it's like a SOS. I'm coming to you with this shit because we need to have a conversation. This is probably the most in conversation next to the AI conversation. Most of this shit ties in with each other. Let me explain. I don't want to lose anybody, but we got to walk. There's a walk that we're going to have. Hold on, man. We're going to have to. There's a walk. Take a walk with another. I would say from this month of November, probably leading all the way up to the end of the fiscal year, December. This is going to be multiple times. We're not getting off of this topic. This topic is going to dive directly into. Let me just show you some shit that I've been doing, bro. Because I could show you better than I could tell you. But this right here, this is going into my dead internet theory talk. The dead internet theory talk, which is an ill rabbit hole. It's gonna lead me into different places on the web that are practicing occult magic. We're going to explore Keck. All right, we're going to explore Pepe the Frog. We're going to explore meme magic. We're going to explore chaos magic. We're going to explore the Groypers. We're going to explore sigil magic. We're going to explore algorithmic hyperstition. We're going to explore simulacra and simulation. We are going to go down a MFN rabbit hole, unlike any rabbit hole that I've probably gone down in a very long time. Ladies and gentlemen, I am in my motherfucking bag, bro. This shit right here, it got me in my bag. It got me in my bag, bro. Here's some of my research. Meme magic, sigil magic, and the dead internet, a field manual for the age of algorithmic hyperstition. But it gets better than that. It gets better than that. Meme magic, how online rituals shape reality. Oh, it gets better than that. Oh, it gets better than that. You know what I'm talking about? I'm writing books. I'm writing books. I put some motherfucking books together because when I started deep diving, my mind was blown. My mind was blown, bro. My mind was blown on how deep this shit really goes, bro. You have no idea. You have no idea whatsoever how deep this rabbit hole goes. First and foremost, one of the first things that I would tell anybody listening to me right now, to my voice and whatnot, what is one of the things that I would recommend that we begin to do going forward? We got to get off the internet. We got to get off the internet, bro, until we understand this shit. Okay? We got to understand it. We don't understand the internet. So this is my gift to you, right? This is going to be available for anybody that winds up getting tickets to this thing that we're doing. Dead internet theory, occultly considered. Egregors, hyperstitions, thought forms, simulacra, hauntings, and archons. I wrote this shit. I put this together earlier today. I put together about 5 or 6 books. I'm going book crazy, y'all. Who know about Shrimp Jesus? God damn it. Who knows about Shrimp Jesus? But this is the thing. This is the thing. Because a lot of this stuff is heavily censored and whatnot. Because when I speak on some of this stuff, I'm going to trigger what is known as the Sentinels. Because these people are, quote unquote, surveilling conversations, and they're censoring certain type of conversations. I'm going to have to take this thing into a private place. I'm going to have public conversations, but literally my public conversations will be simple commercials. They will be simple commercials. Please do not look for me to go down this super duper rabbit hole. I'm not going to be activated on my YouTube channel the way that I should be, the way that I'm activated on Zoom, the way that I'm activated when I'm in private. I'm not necessarily I promise my brother that I'm not going to activate in the public, and I'm not going to get lined up, and I'm not going to become public enemy number one, and I'm not going to let them people put me in their bear trap and whatnot. I'm not going to allow that to happen to me. Shrimp Jesus. I'm not going to allow that to happen to me. How many ladies out there met Shrimp Jesus? Sisters, ladies who go on Tinder dates with Snow Kings. Give me a 1 if you ever met a Shrimp Jesus. I got a lot to talk about. I've been on the phone with a lot of the legends. I've been talking to master teachers. I've been picking the brains of some of our brightest and sharpest. I am on a MFing proud to get y'all this MFing truth, this mother effing work. Briefly though, because I'm not intimidated. Briefly though, I'm gonna go through this PDF of Shrimp Jesus and all of these guys. Briefly, okay? Briefly. And for my viewing pleasure, I'll just share it. Let me see if I can make it big and whatnot and share it. But I printed it out, so I'm gonna just read it from my book. I'm treating this like it's a book. It's a book for me. Okay. But what the best thing that I can do with all of this information moving forward is put it into book mode. I don't know how crazy we are about reading at the moment, right? I will hope that we will be a little more into that, especially the studious ones amongst us. I'm here to let you know there are still rewards in picking up a book and holding it in your hand and reading it. Facts. I shit you not. There's still rewards to that, right? But we've entered into a special time where we literally could be the authors of our books. Shit. We could be the authors of our books. Like, I'm not going to Barnes & Noble. I am Barnes & Noble now. You know what kind of power that put him? You know what kind of power is restored to one who might have felt that, you know, who doesn't see themselves as the author? Do you know what kind of power I'm able to put back into my hands by becoming the author of a book of topics that I could literally sit down and think of? You know what I'm talking about? Very empowering. Very empowering. I would highly recommend that you and yours get into some things like that. Write your children's book if you into the children. Write your health and wellness book if you into health and wellness. Man, just write it, man. Just write it. And it don't have to be an autobiography. I'm not even tackling the autobiography right now. I'm tackling the research, my friends, because goddamn it, people is out here learning and whatnot. People is out here waking up. People are out here leveling up, man. So shit, I need to contribute with some type of what they call literature. Noble Drew Ali charged us to be liturgy agents. He said, write your fucking books. So henceforth, I'm writing these books. I need a publisher. If there's anybody out there listening to me, I'm on my boozy shit. I ask for what I need. We born on the same day. You know what I'm talking about? I'm treating this YouTube as a soapbox. I'm speaking it into existence because I promise you. Let me get in my bag. I promise you. And this is another thing that I've picked up. This KT got a book out. Awesome. This is another thing that I picked up. There's nothing, and I repeat, nothing that the universe respects more. You think the universe respects intellect? I know a bunch of intellectual niggas who don't got it together, whose dreams don't manifest. I know smart dummies. You think the internet respects brawn? I know a bunch of strong, weak niggas. Do you think the internet respects your looks? That's not what it does. Do you think the universe respects beauty? The universe will draw all over your beauty and give your ass crow feet and wrinkles. It doesn't respect beauty. That's not what's making this thing go around, ladies and gentlemen. It's not the intellect. It's not your money and whatnot. If that was the case, all of the people in those zip codes and whatnot that pay those extra taxes, they wouldn't be hopping off of bridges. They wouldn't be trying to figure it out. They wouldn't be hitting up Red Pill for a motherfucking a consultation. Not even with me. They want to talk to my AI. I had somebody that said, "Yo, I want a consultation with your clone." I was like, "This is some new shit. Enlighten me. What's going on?" He was like, "Nah." He was like, I want to talk to your clone. I saw videos with your clone, and I want to have a consultation with your clone. I'm like, yeah, we've entered into a new space. What does the universe respect out of all of the things that I just mentioned? What does the universe bow down to? What does the universe reward? Who knows it? I'm not gonna be Mr. Know-it-all. Who knows it? Who knows the key to this shit right here that we are into, that we are working on? Now, this is the highest frequency that you can be on. What does that mean? That means don't lie to yourself. Can't lie to yourself. Authenticity goes out the window when you lie to yourself. Authenticity goes out the window when you lie to yourself. Authenticity goes out the window when you lie to yourself. You're not lying to nobody but yourself. So when you look at yourself in the mirror, please be 1000. Be authentic. But that is not what the universe rewards. That is not the key to life. That is not what Napoleon Hill is going to be teaching y'all. Consistency and persistence. Okay? They didn't teach us this in school. They didn't teach us this in college. Persistency and consistency. That's the key to life. That's the key to success. That's the key to breaking through in this MFM matrix when all is mental. Consistency, right? You wake up, you have a motherfucking regimen on some Ashton Hall shit. You have a regimen. You are persistent. You never give up. What do they always say to some of us that are like, damn, like you talk to a billionaire, you talk to a millionaire, you talk to a boss and a CEO, and what do they tell you? They say, regardless of anything, it doesn't matter what is taking place in your quote-unquote reality or your movie and whatnot. If you give up, if you stop being persistent, if you stop being consistent, my nigga, you tapped out. You can't give up. You gotta go the whole 12 motherfucking rounds like Canelo. If you tap out, you lost the motherfucking game, okay? There's so many stories of people who are literally digging for gold, digging for gemstones and diamonds and whatnot, and they conveniently stop right before they hit motherfucking pay dirt. The universe commands persistency. and consistency and persistence. That is the key to life. Your enemies, and you know who they are. Don't let me start. Them motherfuckers are persistent and they are consistent. How are they persistent? Because they never, ever stopped to say, rest in peace to my ops. They don't do that. They never bent their knee for you niggas. They never stopped. They are consistent on what they stand on. They are consistent in their message. They are consistent in their quote unquote sacrifices and their rituals. They are motherfucking persistent. Every day, every night, they wake up and they punch the clock to punch your motherfucking lights out. That's what the universe is gonna reward. Get out of your feelings. Get out of your way. And get the fuck out of here with all of that religious shit that don't mean nothing, my nigga. Persistence, consistency. You know what I'm talking about? You got the trap goddess out here sprinkling singles on people in the trap because they're persistent with their trap life. You got people who are day traders and whatnot, waking up at the crack of dawn and whatnot, from the wee hours and whatnot, getting to it. The universe is blessing these people with pips, with motherfucking plays and whatnot. Persistence, consistency. They wake up every morning and they ring that motherfucking bell. Bing, 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 bing. The stock market opens up. The banks open up. The stores open up. The schools open up. Everything opens up like when the sun rises. That is called consistency and persistence. It don't stop. It's a non-going, quote unquote, roll. It's a non-going rat race. It's a hamster wheel. It keeps going. The matrix keeps going. Niggas die. They bury them and keep going. And keep going. The universe is going to award those who are persistent. And it goes back to the conversation that we were having overall with our audience about discipline. The fact that if you were to ask me, what is the next step that we have to take as a people? Shit. I would immediately say, put all of these niggas in a boot camp. Let's get these likes up. You know what I mean? Be persistent with hitting the like button. I would say that we, the men and the women, we need to go into a boot camp, and the same people that put Terrence Crawford in shape and got him ready for the fight of his life, we need coaches and we need drill instructors. Fuck all of that nice shit, my niggas. Fuck all of that nice guy shit. There's no, nigga, we at war. Nice what? Nice for what? It's time to do the work, but you got to be consistent and you got to be persistent. And if a motherfucker got to stand over you with a bullhorn, then so be it. So be it, because you cannot leave it up to chance or choice that in the midst of a war, the motherfuckers that's supposed to be standing right next to you holding it down is going to be doing that. Astaghfirullah, that's not how it works. We got to see you in the field at work. We got to put you, got to train you every day. We got to break you out of these comfort zones. So before we get into a boot camp, let's put ourselves into a mental boot camp. Let's wake up at a certain hour and whatnot. Now that we started this quote unquote last quarter, counting down to the end of the fiscal year, let's get on a regimen. Let's make sure we do at least 200 push-ups a day. Let's make sure that we get about 100 crunches in to take that muffin top up out of here. You know what I'm talking about? Let's do some motherfucking jumping jacks. Men, let's do some Kegel exercises. You know what I mean? Get your joints together. Get, you know what I mean? Sisters, let's work on those glutes. Right? Let's read a book. Let's read some chapters every day. Let's do about an hour on the motherfucking AI, punching in, prompting, vibe coding. Pick up the microphone and just talk to the chat GPT and just talk to it about things that you want. Connect your Google Drive. Connect your Google Docs. Turn some of them old fucking documents into a book, into an ebook or something. Do something. Create logos. Spend an hour on Nano Banana. Create logos. Refurbish old pictures. Take old thumbnails and remix them shits. Take old album covers and remix them and then put them back out on Spotify. Right? Take your old album covers, take your old music, whatever, singles and whatnot. Remix that shit. Give it a nano banana cover. You know what I'm talking about? Take your old music and make that shit new because it's only old because nobody heard it yet. Put it and put some money behind it. We gotta be consistent. We gotta be persistent. If anybody ever says that they want to work with the pillars, we put a contract in your hand and we demand 90 days of persistency, of consistency. You can't come around me and be lacking, bro. And it all starts in the mind first. I never was a pocket watcher because the type of work that we need don't require your pockets. It requires your heart and your mind. Okay? You got to have a strong mind and you got to have a light heart. Okay? So this is the word of the day. Persistence, persistency, and consistency. And I will qualify that. I will qualify that. I will put $1,000. Where's $1,000? Let me see. Here's $1,000. We got 100. All right, we're gonna get 9 more. I will put $1,000 up to anybody's $1,000 that consistency and persistence is the key, and I will qualify it, and I will show you it, and I will stand on it. It wasn't anything that you thought it was. In order to have that, in order to manifest that, in order to pull that shit off, you need a battery called discipline. D, motherfucker, D! And what helps to build discipline? Ironically enough, vitamin D. When you're lacking in vitamin D, your ass is weak. And when you're weak, you're susceptible to break the motherfucking clause. Or you're susceptible to breach the agreement. And the agreement said, I'm going to do this consistently. I'm not stopping. I'm not stopping until the universe tells me and sends me signs that it's time to stop. I'm on this shit consistently. So what have I dedicated to? I'm dedicated to consistently standing on top of business on you know who the Oppingtons are. You know who the Oppingtons are. I don't gotta say their name because I don't say the name of my ops. Right? But it's time to lock the fuck in right now, bro. Bro, this is not time. I will not get on this and start talking about Mariah the scientist is single and who got her private number because I want to ask her something. I'm not gonna waste your time on this internet. I'm not about to sit up here and be gossiping or talking stupid shit. No, nigga, it's DEFCON 4 right now. They just pulled the illest ritual that I've ever seen in a very long time with Captain Kirk. And you know who that is. With the nigga from Kirkwood. You know what I'm talking about? They pulled the illest ritual that I've probably seen in a very long time, but it ties exactly into everything that we've been talking about dealing with hyperstition. What is hyperstition? Hyperstition is the act of taking something that is not real and making it real in this reality, physical 2D reality, taking something from the internet, 3D reality, and manifesting that bitch in 2D reality. That right there, ladies and gentlemen, is hyperstition, which is an upgrade to superstition. Let me see if I could pull a book up, because like I said, I done wrote a few books. You know what I'm saying? This has gotten me in a very studious type of mind, and I'm preparing for the November 1st, one of the biggest lectures in my life. You know what I'm saying? One of the biggest workshops in my life. I'm inspired. I'm honored. You know what I'm talking about? And I'm finna show up and show. I'm about to, bro. I got a lot of. I just got gifts, man. I got gifts. I got gifts in the form of research and in the form of this. What we putting together to get ourselves together. You know what I'm saying? to get ourselves together. You know what I'm saying? We're not going to drop the ball on this one. We're not going to drop the ball on this one. I got a special gift that I'm going to share with the community dealing with that workshop when I pop. I'm going to be on Rich's show tomorrow, and I'll make that announcement tomorrow for everybody that's going to be in the building. Tomorrow's show is going to be about the dead internet theory. We're going to run it up. We're going to talk about the dead internet theory tomorrow. Okay? We're gonna deep dive and break that shit down tomorrow. But I'm gonna give you a little bit of a primer right now. I'm gonna give you a little bit of a primer right now. You know what I'm saying? Because for anybody that's just listening, if you don't have context, you're gonna be like, what is he talking about? And there's nothing more important. There's nothing that supersedes what I call the narrative in this day and age. Nothing supersedes the narrative. There's not one thing that supersedes it. Okay? So what is important right now is being able to take back the narrative and to establish the narrative. I don't feel like our people have control of the narrative after this quote-unquote ritual that just took place. They have snatched the narrative and they control the narrative. The alt-right is controlling the narrative right now, and that is not that's not good. You don't have, the ball is not in your proverbial court. You feel me? And if the ball is not in your court, then whose court is it in, right? And based off of whose court it's in, how are they going to, right? How are they going to be courting the quote-unquote the people that they control? So real quick, because this is not even the basis on I spoke about it, so let me give you a little bit of insight as to it. The algorithmic ghost, a deep dive into the dead internet theory and the crisis of digital authenticity. Okay. The dead internet theory posits that the majority of online activity is no longer human generated, but automated. While its conspiratorial claims of a coordinated government plot are unproven, the underlying phenomenon it describes are a quantifiable reality. The web is undergoing a profound transformation from a human-centric space to a machine-dominated ecosystem. This report deconstructs the theory, moving beyond speculation to provide an evidence-based analysis of this existential crisis and its implications for trust, cognition, and digital authenticity. So here's some quantifiable evidence. We have the receipts to show that the bots have taken over. This is revenge of the bots. We are literally in Botswana. Quantifiable evidence. The theory's endurance stems from a foundation of quantifiable data. Multiple cybersecurity and data analysis firms have documented the systematic displacement of human activity by automated traffic, lending empirical weight to the feeling that the internet has become hollow, right? So over the years, you've seen the traffic of humans actually wane, while the traffic of the bad bots, right, have actually picked up. From 2016 with the Russian gate, the whole thing with Trump was about bots. The whole thing with Trump was about bots. The whole thing with Trump was about bots, right? Dealing with Cambridge Analytica, the Mercers, which are a billionaire Republican family, and Cambridge Analytica, that was a UK firm that they were utilizing to run up bots on Facebook, aka Meta, and they got caught. And it was a big scandal and whatnot. But ever since 2016, when they put that information out there and everybody around the world found out that bots can sway elections, man, this has been the order of the day moving forward. This internet that you are on is not a real place. This internet is the net, right? It is the fish net, the internet that you're arguing with people on, the internet that you're putting your energy into, the internet that you are basically taking everything for law and is real. It's not. You're arguing with a robot. You're getting triggered by a robot. You're getting cursed out by a robot. You're getting told that you go back to Africa, you're a monkey and all type of stuff by literal robots that are created by AI, right? Bots like chatbots, right? Agents like Agent Smith. The bot human tipping point in 2016, automated programs surpassed human activity for the first time, accounting for 52% of web traffic. This trend has continued with bots maintaining their dominance and solidifying the web as a machine-centric space. The proliferation of AI slop. The rise of generative AI has led to a flood of low-quality, automatically generated content termed AI slop. Phenomenon like Shrimp Jesus images on Facebook, amplified by thousands of AI comments, exemplify this trend of digital clutter designed to deceive and manipulate users, right? So I want you to take that information, right? We're going to go deeper into it, but that's a good premise to set up. That's a great segue to set up some of the visual evidence that I will be presenting tonight, right? I'm going to go through a lot of videos. I'm not going to do a lot of talking. I'm going to let them do the talking. This is how I maintain my journalism authenticity and also remove myself from this type of, what I would say, scrutiny, the scrutiny that they would necessarily levy on a brother such as myself. I'm able to protect myself and remove myself from said scrutiny on these publicly traded social media platforms where they're building out dossiers and social credit points and systems and whatnot. So let us go to the motherfucking tape with the understanding that the bots are running things. They're shaping narratives. The bots, the robots, they shape narratives, they shape conversations, and they shape public discourse, right? And we just saw the illest bot farm or the bot army, and we saw the illest propaganda campaign take place over the last few days where they made you niggas worship Mr. Charlie.
Killed, he collapsed a donor-coded timeline. Charlie Kirk was not just killed, he collapsed a donor-coded timeline. You have no idea what he was actually carrying. You think this was just political. I promise you, it wasn't. At 1730 UTC, on the day of his deletion, the Schumann resonance spiked, but it was not just solar. It was signal, a quantum relay burst like a scroll frequency detonation. That moment wasn't the start of something, it was the collapse of something that could no longer be contained. Charlie Kirk's scroll was not coded to follow orders, it was coded to trigger convergence. When he refused to ban Tucker Carlson, when he refused to submit to the Zionist war machine, his protection field gone, his timeline activated. That's why the feds took over in seconds. That's why there's no footage, because this wasn't about one man. It was about the activation pattern that man carried. In quantum field mechanics, when a localized vibration exceeds containment thresholds, it creates what's called a displacement node. The node doesn't just collapse locally, it creates ripple instructions across the entire system. Charlie was that node, not a victim, a living quantum detonator. In his last 14 days, that was a scroll countdown. They tried to stop it with money, with blackmail, with silence. It didn't work, because once a scroll relay hits zero, the ignition cannot be reversed. The system knows, the donors know, and that's why they had to pull the trigger before the letter to BB leaked. But they were too late, because scroll codes do not die, they replicate. So now the question isn't who killed Charlie, the question is what system died with him, and what scroll just woke up in you? Look, they're counting on you forgetting. The field is counting on you remembering. 001010. The void obeys.
So Brosie O'Donnell, along with many other people on my timeline, has shown nothing but unadulterated support for this individual. They've basically kissed his ring, and they've sanitized him and idolized him and lionized him in ways that you know what I'm saying, that I probably never thought that I would see, right? However, it doesn't surprise me because everybody, remember, there is a conscious community on both sides of the spectrum. There is a conscious, in case you did not know, we are not the only show in town. I don't want our people to be arrogant and to think that you are the only show in town. You are not. There is a conscious community on the European side, and Tucker Carlson, Ben Shapiro, Nick Fuentes, and Charlie Kirk are their Riza Islam, their 19 Keys, their Umar Johnson. You feel me? That is who they represent, right? I've said it, we said it before. The intellectual assassin, the intellectual assassin of Charlie Kirk. He was an intellectual assassin. He was a debater. He is a thought leader of their movement. He is one of the master teachers for the young white, quote unquote, shooters, right? The young white nationalists who have caught many bodies. He is a part of that, quote unquote, you got to remember, we have to put it into context. These are occult organizations, right? So the organization that Nick Fuentes represents is called the Groypers, right? The Goip, what they call the Groypers. They're seen through the lens of their people. Keep in mind, I want to tell we have to put it into perspective. We have to put it into perspective, because you'll listen to all of this stuff and you'll hear these things and you don't understand what it is that you're listening to. You don't know what it is that you're hearing and whatnot. And then you, quote unquote, will be paying homage to somebody and you don't know who this person is that you're paying homage to. So in warfare, you got to understand how that shit works, right? You don't pay the I don't you don't in warfare, you don't pay homage to your ops. Okay? You do not do that. The symbolism of two neck killing, right? Oh wow, Sun Ra, you never heard of him? You never heard of him? These are the poster childs of white fragility, all of them. Fuentes, Shapiro, Kirk, and the other one. You know what I mean? And then you got Aiden Ross coming in, right? You got Shapiro, you got Fuentes, you got that was the three. Nick Fuentes, Ben Shapiro, Charlie Kirk. Right? Those were the big three. Right? That's the big three. Then you got Tucker Carlson, you got Candace. Candace was brought in by Charlie. Charlie brought Candace in. Charlie is a kingmaker. Charlie was backed by billionaires. Charlie was sitting next to the president. You understand? Charlie brought the president into prominence. Okay? Charlie helped to bring the president. Charlie delivered the president to the YNs. I mean, to the what the Drewski call them, the YWs, right? So you have Jesse Lee Peterson, you have right? These are their, like, you know how we got master teachers, you got Jordan Peterson, you got you know what I mean? They have higher ups, right? Peter Thiel is like Peter Thiel is like their panic, bro. You feel me? Okay, so they YCs, right? They not YNs, they YCs, right? They YCs and whatnot, right? Um, yeah, Officer Tatum, that the black dude, the coonery. Peter Thiel is Shredder. No, I'm saying you gotta compare. Listen, when you compare that side, use this side. I would say that on our side, who would be Trump to black people? I know who it is, but I just want to see if we're on the same page with these conversations. I just want to know if we're on the same page so we could properly gauge one another. Who on the white side? We don't got no, don't say the word Obama either. Who do we have on our side that has the type of respect, adoration, and could raise an army right now, a standing army like Trump? I would say Farrakhan. I would say Farrakhan is the equivalent of somebody who could sit with world leaders. He could command world leaders with a phone call. He could sit with dignitaries. He could sit with heads of state. He could sit with a lot of people, and he could actually have conversations that more than likely could lead to something. So Minister Farrakhan, you heard he's compromised, right? So Minister Farrakhan has an upstart, right? He has upstarts. He has multiple upstarts, right? He has multiple people who are considered to be his successors, right? And he has proof of his works in his students, right? So he could prove that his work is really like that, right? Because of the fact that he could show and prove through his students, right? He could say, yo, my shit is official because I've raised up students. Like Elijah raised up Malcolm, raised up Farrakhan. Farrakhan helped raise up Khaled. You know what I'm saying? So the students that I'm referring to is Rizza Islam and Ben X. He got Wesley Muhammad. He got Nuri Muhammad. And then vicariously will be like a 19 Keys, who for the record is not the Nation of Islam, is not the Fruit of Islam. So he would be an outlier. Rizza Islam, when he was closest to Farrakhan, is the equivalent in my book to Charlie Kirk and his closeness to Trump, right? Charlie Kirk was a debater. He's an intellectual assassin, right? You gotta, you know, a debater, right? A debater. He was going around college campuses. He would debate 20 people at once. He was washing up some of the people, and then he was being confronted by the Goys, right? By Nick Fuentes and them. They were disrupting his rallies. So remember on House of Consciousness when so all right, let's use different examples of consciousness so we could paint the picture of this vast universe of white supremacy that has multiple layers to it, it has multiple levels to it, and it has quote unquote different factions to it. So Nick Fuentes is seen as a hardliner, similar to in our community, the Hebrew Israelites in the RBG, right? When it was underneath like a SETI and whatnot, those were considered to be far left or far right. They were hardliners. They're zealots. They stand on their quote unquote, you know, they stand on what they stand on, right? So remember when House of Consciousness used to have they would turn the camera on and they would show Tazariak and the ISUPK, and they would be interrupted by Polite when they were out there having their quote unquote sermons, and Sinetta would be following either Polite or my dude with the braid, Shaka Atmos, right? And then they would go and disrupt them. They would heckle them or they would disrupt them. And then Tazariak was like, cross the line, right? Remember that? That was like a very famous video where he just got fed up and he was like, well, fuck it, cross the line. And Polite didn't cross the line. So that was similar to what you would see taking place with the Turning Point debates with Charlie Kirk going up against the hecklers who are Nick Fuentes and all of them when they would be disrupting them. It didn't get that serious about cross the line, but it did get a lot of, you know what I mean? It was a lot of smoke going on. Nick Fuentes is saying, I'm more hardcore than you. I'm more of an extremist than you. I'm more hardliner than you, right? This is the same person that Kanye brought to the White House to have dinner with Trump before. No, he didn't bring him to the White House. He brought him to Mar-a-Lago before he even was considered to be a viable candidate in this last run, right? But Trump was like, Nick was too extreme, and Trump went with he instead went with Charlie. Now Charlie has billionaires that backed him all of his life, right? He's had money behind him his whole run. So there's people in our community who have had backing their whole run. They've had resources. They've had access to money people. They've had access to donors, because they was big about donors. So when Brosie O'Donnell got on here and was talking about something was released,
Hit the towers.
and then there was she was like the Richter scales or the Schumann resonance went off when they clipped them and whatnot. We got to keep in mind that there was two dichotomies of what may have taken place, and I'm not really going to speak on all of that right now, but what I will say is that they've created a million Charlie Kirks rather than just one of them. And I said this on the show before, and I used Charleston White as an example, another Charles. So keep in mind, you got King Charles. Keep your eyes on these Charles in charge, right? That's going to be a segment that I'll be dealing with leading up to this lecture. I'm going to put a video out called Charles in Charge, and I'm going to show King Charles, right? Because Charles, who's born on my birthday, November the 14th, is the king. He's the king, right? Then you got Charlemagne. Then you got Charleston White. Then you got Charlie. Then you got Mr. Charlie. And what does Charles mean? Let me go to my notes. What's the etymology of Charles? Because the etymology on Kirk, the etymology of Kirk is church. The etymology of Kirk is church. Okay? So whoever took out Charlie created 1 million Charlies. They sent him on an acceleration. He's been, quote unquote, he is in the quote unquote ascension protocol right now. They're ascending this man into martyrdom, which eventually will create a sort of egregor or a saint-like energy that they are able to tap into. So Charles is free man, right? Free man in church, Charlie's Angels, right? So let's watch a little more of these videos because there's a lot going on right now in this quote unquote space dealing with your boy.
Now, all you conspiracy theorists out there, I don't want you going crazy, but what are the odds that George Zinn, the patsy that was arrested at the Charlie Kirk assassination, also saw 9/11, he saw the planes fly into the buildings and called that in and reported it, and then he also called in a fake terrorist attack at the Boston Marathon bombing, and just so happened to get arrested at Charlie Kirk's event. So Tess Keyser, she responded to this tweet and she says, Grok is a guy really involved in all three events like this post claims. And Grok fact checks it and goes, based on a review of multiple sources, George Zinn was a witness to the 9/11 attacks and he described seeing planes hit the towers. He was also arrested in 2013 for emailing a bomb threat joke to the Salt Lake City Marathon shortly after the Boston bombing. He pled guilty to a terrorism charge and somehow magically only received probation. He was also detained and questioned as a person of interest at the Charlie Kirk assassination on September 10th, 2025, but released without charges relating to the shooting. Then Grok went on and made sure that it told you there is no credible evidence that supports claims of his involvement in 9/11's false flag, facilitating Kirk's deaths, or Mossad ties. The main suspect in Kirk's killing is now Tyler Robinson, and he is in custody. So I asked Grok to break this one down for us, and it says so, and it wouldn't give me an answer first. It said it's impossible to calculate. Well, I said use statistical probability and give me a ballpark stat on the probability of him being at all three major events. And it goes through here and it breaks it down. Then we get down here to the very bottom where it combines the probability right here. Combined probability. And it says it is equal to 0.705% or 5 times 10 to the power of 8. That translates to approximately 1 in 2 billion. Does all of that seem normal to you?
Are you not entertained? You don't find that suspicious? All right, let's go.
The far right and people like Charlie Kirk, which is like the far right by most people. Everybody, do not mistake yourself. This schism between Nick Fuentes, the far right, and people like Charlie Kirk, which is like the far right by most people's standards, is not new. It's not new at all. It's not from the last year. It's from almost a decade ago. I want to tell you like two of the biggest flashpoint moments that like really solidified how the far right views people like Charlie Kirk, or viewed him, and also views people like Trump. So the first one is in Charlottesville. As you guys remember, at Charlottesville in 2017, 7 months into Trump's first term, a bunch of neo-Nazis and white supremacists marched on the University of Virginia, and then in the succeeding days, as they held more rallies and people held counter protests, somebody drove a car through a crowd and killed a young woman named Heather Heyer. Okay, now when that happened, and the media seized on that, because of course they would, because it was horrific, people on the far right viewed Trump's response to that as selling them out. Because Trump said what? That there are fine people on both sides. That was a fucking nail in the coffin right there. Because they viewed it as Trump was not willing to just say with his chest what they all thought they implicitly all believed in, which is, no, the right is back, we're here to win, some people are going to die. That's what they wanted Trump to say. They wanted him to push through and not cower in the face of what they view as a bunch of cucks, which are the liberal media. And he didn't. And so, like, for some people, that was enough. And so then anybody who is associated with continuing to try and just praise Trump no matter what, having a very uncritical stance of Trump on the right, like Charlie Kirk and Turning Point USA, immediately became suspicious and viewed as, oh, you're just grifting on top of the movement. That's one. The second big one was what happened after January 6th. They, again, viewed Trump as nothing more than a chicken shit bullshitter who was willing to let people who enabled him to be politically relevant get thrown in federal prison after he didn't seize the moment. That's what they hate about him. They hate people like Trump. I mean, they view him as useful because he is a far-right ideologue, and he certainly enables lots of far-right ideologues. But they hate him because they view it as, Trump, you have the ball. Like, nobody's going to stand in your way. Do it. Fucking do it. Just do whatever it is that needs to be done. And he won't do it. So in January 6th's case, what the far right really hated about Trump in that instance, and also hated about people like Charlie Kirk by extension, was that Trump wasn't willing to just get on that stage and then say, storm the Capitol, whoever stands in your way, get rid of them. I will defend you. You know what I mean? Like, he kind of did that, but he didn't actually just say it plainly, and he didn't refuse to back down. The far right wanted him to push through the pressure, push through the criticism, push through the hate, push through the laws, push through the people, right? But he won't do it because Trump is too soft-willed, and also too afraid himself of consequences and losing money. And so they looked at that, and especially his sort of like willingness to just disappear into being like an old man with a Twitter account while his own supporters were being thrown in federal prison, as being proof that like this man should be not trusted all the way. And they really fucking hated that Charlie Kirk and all the people in Turning Point USA came out and just like, you know, with their whole chest defended every action Trump took that day, because for them, the people on the far right, they're like, no, we should be criticizing him and people who are like him, because they were willing to get to the 99th yard on the line and then not step 1 foot over it, which is bullshit because it just sets the whole movement back. They've been hating people like Charlie Kirk. It's been a long time. It's been a long time. And the reason I want to bring this up is not to be like, actually, the reason I want to bring it up though is because we have to understand that like the schism in the far right, it's a chasm, and it's been there for a long time. They just built a bridge over the valley, you know what I mean? Because they understand that like they kind of do need each other. People like Nick Fuentes needed people like Charlie Kirk, because Charlie Kirk is a place where people can get into the funnel, and then if they think that Charlie Kirk isn't willing to say the actual truth, like the real plain-spoken version of what the logical end of their politics is, there's an off-ramp, and it's to Nick Fuentes. Charlie Kirk needed people like Nick Fuentes as well, because he needed somebody who also had an audience, who not only with like literally an audience like you and me, but like an audience with like politicians, so he could literally be like, well, I'm not that extreme. What I'm saying is sensible. That guy's insane. They did need each other. There is a symbiosis here, you know, but it's a frenemies thing, much more on the enemies than friends, but you know what I'm saying. So I just want to make sure we're clear. It's like the wedge is very, very, very old, and it is very deep. And so there might be some things in there that would be worth exploring, how it is that we could make that wedge just a little bit deeper, you know?
Charlie Sheen. Charlie Sheen was on Joe Rogan. Interesting. I'm going to tap in with that as well. A charlatan. A charlatan is a fraud. A charlatan. How many people believe that Charlie is in Kirkwood right now? Or that was all a psyops and you probably saw something that you didn't see? How many people believe that that was a psyop amongst many psyops? Candace had 400,000. Shit, Nick Fuentes had 900,000 on his stream. 900,000. Right? 900,000. Nick Fuentes had 900,000. He had more than Casanet and a whole bunch of other people that was streaming the same time. Added up, he had more than them, right? How many people think that Charlie is in a bunker somewhere, right? How many people think Charlie's in a bunker somewhere? Because there's a lot of conspiracy theories popping. Check this out.
Hear ye, second wave of the psyop coming in hot. Get it fresh while it's hot.
So they're still going to go with the transgender angle. A source told Brooke Singman. I mean, who actually believes the kid disassembled the rifle, put it in a backpack, jumped off the roof, then reassembled the rifle in the woods? If you do, you're foolish. Have you ever heard of the magic bullet theory? Have you ever heard of Tower 7? Project Northwoods, Mockingbird, Paperclip, Octopus conspiracy. I mean, Jesus fucking Christ! But ask yourself this. I thought this guy was a groiper. I thought he was so he's a far-right Nick Fuentes fan who is marrying a transgender. I don't know, bro. I find that very hard to believe.
Hear ye, hear ye. It just gets more confusing day by day. You know what I mean? But yeah, dude that they say clipped they said he's a groiper, but then they also said that his boyfriend was a man with a woman with a man part, right? So there's this infatuation by the far right. The far right. They have an infatuation with lady boys. It's tinkering on the data that's been provided at places like the RNC, you know, when all of the Republicans come into town, or other places like the data that they get off of websites for these red states where the majority are MAGA, right? What are they consuming? What are they watching? They have the data on their private lives. What are they into? What is the Tinder saying? What is the quote unquote Rumble or Bumble saying? What are the dating apps pointing to? Right? It's a lot of Roman activity when it comes to the MAGA boys that while on the surface, they'll be on Fox 5 talking down against lady boys. When you look at the data, that's who they're into. Okay. Similar to what we witnessed with the Nazis. All right. Similar to what we witnessed with the Nazis coming out of Germany, that they too were said to persecute the alternative lifestyles. However, that is a lie, because there have been so many stories that have come out to say that the perfect Nazi was one who was into another Nazi, right? They were that's something that they ritualistically did. The pink triangle. Yeah, there you go. So let us continue with the theorem, right? The theorem, right? Not conspiracy theory, conspiracy theorem.
Look at them hands.
So this is
okay, guys.
They buried my dude like he a Muslim. You know what I'm talking about? They buried my guy like he a Muslim, like he down with the Muslim. They had his ass. Where's the autopsy? Where's the autopsy? And what the fuck? Look at his hand.
This is Charlie Kirk's open casket, and I need you guys to have a real eye here. Look at her ring. Look at them hands. Why is everything seeming so fake right now? Why would you film yourself grieving over your loved one? Why would you film that anyway? But nonetheless, that hand isn't real. Oh, look at that ring as well. Did you see that? Let me show you. So she seems to have a massive G, a ring on her finger. Why would she have a G? A fellow was called Charlie Kirk. That's CK. Why would she have a big G? We know what the big G is, don't we? I wonder if it has any connection to the number 33 that they keep having pop up all over the media about this Charlie Kirk event.
Did you notice J.D. Vance deliberately lowering Charlie Kirk's coffin? The story behind it is heartbreaking. In the footage, the coffin stays tilted at about 30 degrees, and J.D. Vance keeps pressing down with his hand as if controlling the angle. Some criticized him for being disrespectful, even suggesting he was out of line, but the truth is very different.
The truth is very different. They were showing the world the 33-degree angle that they worship, because that is what this situation was, an elite control of manipulation. You know, just like here on the famous photo that was pushed all over the media after the Charlie Kirk shooting that had the 47, 47, 47, which is 4 plus 7 is 11, 11, 11, 11, 33. It's always there. And what's that on his t-shirt? That says freedom, right? Well, if you numerically add all of the alphabet numbers up in freedom, somehow it adds to 66, which is the ultimate number of the mark of the beast. Half it, you've got the double 33, the all-seeing eye, the Illuminati symbolism. It is all over this Charlie Kirk death. But needless to say, please, can we have all the internet detectives on this one? Why is Charlie Kirk's hand looking like a clay model? And why are they even filming it? And why does she have a G on her finger? That G is a massive symbol, and they know it. So yeah, I'm pretty sure if I was wearing a ring right now that said G on it, I would be getting comments left, right, and center asking if I was a Freemason, right? So we can question the big G, because there is a, you know, a very questionable situation going on right here, especially when the hands of the deceased are looking like a fake person, not a real deceased body. And the propaganda of just filming it and crying over it just to get millions and millions of views definitely screams alarm bells for me. But obviously, for the sensory reasons, this was just for entertainment. Please let me know what you think in the comments. And I'm as fictional as a dinosaur, baby.
proud to be their leader, and I'm proud to be the director of the FBI. To my friend Charlie Kirk, rest now, brother. We have the watch, and I'll see you in Valhalla.
To this day.
Nigga said Valhalla, bro. What the fuck? This nigga said, I see you in Valhalla. Let's go back, Cash. Talk to me, Cash.
Rest now, brother. We have the watch, and I'll see you in Valhalla.
The fuck?
And come on, you Jews own the media, Ben. So, I mean, come on. As you can tell by all the wonderful headlines you guys get. Maybe we should also ask a question. Is the media totally presenting the truth when it comes to Israel? Just a question, you know, that maybe we shouldn't believe everything the media says, because I know I've been conditioned to ask a lot more critical questions over the last couple of years.
The shot that ended Charlie Kirk's life was engraved with a 12-year-old furry-bashing meme. Notice his bulge, ooh woo, what's that? Which tells us an important thing. This assassination was a shitpost. That is the lens to analyze it through. Another of the casings references a video game, Helldivers 2, and a specific bomb that you could send on your enemies in the game with the command up, right, down, down, down. This command line sort of became a meme in image boards where it would be deployed to kind of represent, you know, ending an argument, but almost more so as just like, if you know, you know. And that sort of signals the in-group there. Another of the 4 casings references Bella Ciao, which is an Italian anti-fascist anthem from the World War II era that has stuck around and remained very popular online. It's been used both in left and right-wing political contexts, and it's used in a lot of video games. And then the 4th and final shell casing was engraved with, if you're reading this, you're gay, LMAO. This was a shitpost. It was designed to be maximally disruptive and incomprehensible, cloaked in layer upon layer of irony so that nobody would know what he really meant unless they were our guy. This performs a kind of nihilism that plays really, really well on particular image boards and Discord servers where this guy spent most of his life. And I say most of his life because that furry meme is from 2013. He was 10 years old when it was first posted and became popular. He, like you and I, grew up alongside this part of the internet that trickled out through the other platforms that we went on and has actually informed and driven a lot of our politics. Half of the administration right now is content creators, and all of the guys who are wearing masks going out on these deportation raids, the guys who are staffers of Republican members of Congress in these different executive departments, the guys who are 19 years old called in by Elon to doge things, these are all Reddit kids. These are all guys who were on 4chan in 2013, laughing at that furry meme. Now, the question everybody's asking is, was this kid a groiper? And the question everybody's parents are asking is, what is a groiper? So groipers are the most extreme fringe of this kind of image board nihilistic culture that I'm talking about. They're led by Nick Fuentes, who is a content creator and a streamer, and they really are about transgressing any boundary that exists. They are like explicitly white nationalists, really bad, horrible people. The name Groiper originates from this variant of Pepe the Frog, which comes about in the late 2010s, and these guys adopt it as a kind of collective self-portrait. They make it their profile picture, they make it their moniker. There was the Groiper War of 2019, in which Nick Fuentes and his people trolled Charlie Kirk and Turning Point USA, showing up at these debate events and asking questions that would push Kirk to say things that were even more extreme than Kirk was already saying. So where Charlie Kirk took like one step toward these kind of white or Christian nationalist ideas, the Groipers took 2 steps. They demanded that he make the subtext text. One post people have been citing as proof of the Groiper hypothesis is this one from his mother's Facebook that shows him dressed up as a meme for Halloween. It seems like the meme is Gopnik Pepe, which is a 4chan meme to my understanding, but I don't quite associate it with Poll, which is like the political board on 4chan that most people are talking about it. I see it more as like a K meme, and sort of like a rare Pepe type thing. But again, like many Pepe or Groiper memes, the core of this is a lonely male figure in sort of an immiserated landscape looking sad. And that's part of the story I wish more people were talking about. What's driving our political violence isn't just polarization, where one side is getting more radical and kind of undermining democracy, nor is it algorithms, like some have said, that are like pickling the brains of young people. It is that feeling, which these Pepe memes represent, of you're always going to be alone, you're never going to have a future, and you're never going to have a voice. And that feeling, which is by no means rare or unusual in our society today, collides with a particular set of circumstances. This long entrenched nihilistic online tradition, the ready availability of firearms, and the increasing derangement of mainstream discourse, this ambient sense of like tension and volatility that exists in the air to produce stuff like this. And we're going to see more and more of it unless those root causes are addressed and unless we find a way to offer a better future to people.
My bad. That conversation that this guy just had is a very important conversation. This video right here, he helped to explain a lot of things that we really want our people to understand and to understand about these communities that we may not have no idea. Now, what is startling clear and what has to be pointed out, and was one of the reasons why we're going to be going down this rabbit hole leading up to the end of the month. We're going to be doing our lecture on a Sunday. Okay, we're going to be doing our lecture on a Sunday, right? And it's going to be for my Patreons because we always deliver a lecture to our Patreons at the end of the month. So this one right here is going to be wrapped up in a bow, and it's going to be livicated. I don't use dedicated. It will be livicated to all of y'all. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to bring my bro, my twin, so we could cook together. You feel me? I'm gonna bring my twin with me so we could cook together and we could get this shit really put out there. But one of the things that was highlighted in that video, and is one of the things that I am going to be speaking of in an intense deep dive, is internet culture, right? The internet culture, 4chan culture, 8chan culture, QAnon culture, Anon culture, red pill culture, black pill culture, incel culture, all of these different cultures, and tie it into what we know as the culture war. Now, there's a culture war going on right now, but we don't even know what that culture war is. We don't even know that they are at war with us. We don't even know where we stand in the culture war. We don't even know what factions are at war with us in the quote unquote culture war. Do we know what exactly the ramifications of a culture war is? Do we know that Nick Fuentes, literally right before he got allegedly unalived, he was stoking the fires of the culture war? Do we know right now they're in Charlotte trying to quote unquote push this story of this man who unalived a Ukrainian woman and whatnot as a means for quote unquote race war? But why? Why don't they ever talk about all of those melanated women who are being decapitated, dismembered, and unalived on them damn Tinder dates? I did a show, I've done many shows, but our last show that I did, I literally put 6 of them up there. Charlotte is another Charles, right? Look for King Charles to enter the MF in chat. That is the most powerful Charles out of all of them. And his birthday is coming up because we share a birthday. Look for King Charles to enter the MF in chat. He's coming up next, right? So they don't talk about our women that got beheaded by these goddamn cave dwellers and whatnot. There's no public outcry for all of the quote unquote women who are being unalived on these dating apps. They're not talking about all of these women that are being quote unquote kidnapped and coming up missing off of these apps and whatnot. However, they're going to highlight this Ukrainian, right? They got caught in a bus. That's psyop. That's propaganda. That's an old story. Somebody sent that to me like 3 weeks ago. Why is it still in the news? Why is it still in the news? So for our sisters who probably was misled, misinformed, and they went out there on a desperation and never came back. And never came back. And they did our sisters dirty. It wasn't no, they did them women dirty, bro. The things that they did to those women can't even, it's heinous. It's heinous. It's heinous. But nobody talks about that. Nobody, there's no sympathy for that. And where it keeps pointing to time after time after time after time is that 4chan. It's that 4chan. Time after time after time. It's that 8chan. It's that 4chan. It's that anonymous community. So you got to understand who we're dealing with. You don't have to understand, but I'm going to explain it. I'm going to break it down so we have a better understanding about who we're dealing with. This is an occult movement. Anything that's hidden is a cult. Anything that's private is a cult. So everything being done on the dark web is considered a cult activity. Anything being done in these forums, these annons and whatnot, where you have an anonymous profile, right? 4chan, you're anonymous. So you're unseen. You're unseen. They don't know who you are. You're hiding behind a name. So that is the occult. That is it. So the Kek, K-E-K, right? And Pepe the Frog and Kekistan and all of that is a part of an occult movement that they gave birth to online. And they utilize meme magic. They utilize chaos magic. They utilize spirit cooking, and they utilize real life massacres, mass shootings. Anytime there's a shooting and it's a weapon that has engraving on it, like there's writing on a weapon, which is like a rune that goes back into the Nordic and whatnot. They will carve runes on their weapons and whatnot. So these modern day Valhalla destination shooters. So think Christchurch shooting. Think the shooting at the masjid. Think the Christchurch shooting. 51 people got unalived, I believe. That was in New Zealand. Think Dylan Roof. Think all of these quote unquote nationalists. Think the Waffle House shooter, right? All of the people who rode out, and they come from 4chan, and they're lone wolves, and they have manifestos, and they draw on the weapon. That's all part of that occult movement. And every single time they catch bodies, whether it's those children that just got unalive at the mass, whether it's a school shooting with them dudes out of Columbine, all of that is being channeled by this hyper violent occult, quote unquote, online movement. And Discord is their altar. Their altar is Discord, and their quote unquote initiation grounds are 4chan. But Discord is their server. That's their church. And we're dealing with social people with social anxiety. We're dealing with social outcasts. We're dealing with a whole race of people who suffer from fragility. So they were radicalized over the years. But their rituals and their quote unquote, their campaign or their crusades literally started with Trayvon Martin in 2012. And they're practicing a form of necromancy. Okay, they practice a form of necromancy where it's a worship and it's also a desecration of the dead. So the same thing that the YNs are on, and it coincidentally happened around the same time. We're talking aesthetic nihilism. This is nihilistic. This is nihilism in its highest degrees that you're seeing, that the children, the youth are expressing that, right? The Goipers are the crypto bros too. Yes, they are. The Goipers are the crypto bros that you see in Miami on the yachts. They be with Aiden Ross. They're those weird looking incels, right? Those are the groypers, right? They could become very violent. They're violent minded. We're talking gamers. This is the gamer community. This is the gamer community. This is the gamer community. These are the gamers. The gamer community is a part of the Anon community because they too are anonymous. So they too are part of this occult type of quote unquote movement that is taking place online, and they're using Christian nationalism, Christian Zionism, and the Nordic quote unquote, and also King Roderick and the Gothic history of the Byzantine Empire when they got their asses kicked by the Moors. That's who they're channeling when they're talking about they're coming back as crusaders and whatnot. Literally, as I speak, your vice president Vance is sitting in the podcast seat of Charlie Kirk, doing his show. Do you know? He was wearing the black sweatsuit, right? So everything in this world, right? We're talking about sigils. We're talking about hyperreality. Hyperreality is the reality that they've created online. Hyperstition is the fact that they can take fake things like Pepe the Frog, like the Kek religion, and make it real by having what? Blood sacrifices, right? All of that shit on the dark web where they're killing black women. All of that is feeding their egregor. All of that is feeding their movement. All of these quote unquote unsolved crimes with these lone gunmen, all of that is feeding their religion. It's a blood religion. It's an energy religion. They're energy harvesting. They're aura farming. They are stealing your fucking looch, right? So right around the time in 2012 where Chief Keef and the Drillers got introduced to the younger generation with this quote unquote desecration of the dead. That is the magic pill right there. That is the key component about where we're going with this thing. Keep in mind, I can't be talking too much online. Let me share this real quick. All right, let me share this real quick for anybody in the audience that wants to be a part of this, because we're gonna be dropping. I'm gonna drop the PDF that I showed y'all earlier. This is gonna go to anybody. This is Manifest Destiny, American Gods. Why is this American Gods? Because they are literally creating an American God right before our very own eyes. They are literally creating an American God right before our very own eyes. If you don't see it, it's not my job to help you see it. If you don't see it, it is not my job to help you see it. If you don't see it, it is not my job to help you see what is taking place before your very own eyes. American Gods, Manifest Destiny, they are creating an entity. They are deifying. It's more than just a deification. They are literally creating an American God. They are sanitizing every single thing that this man might have said about melanated people when they canonize him. What do they wind up going to do? All of his lectures go into the Library of Congress. Everything that he said that will be considered to be high level of racism is now sanitized. It's now a part of the lexicon. It is now a part of the canon of America. You see how they did that? That's just the beginning with him. That is just the beginning with him. They don't need him alive. If you understand who these people are and how they get down, they don't need that boy alive. He's actually more powerful dead. That's how they work their magic. He's literally more powerful right now as a corpse. So whoever gets a ticket right now, you're going to get the free PDF that we have about studying the simulacra, hyperstition, and the quote unquote the quote unquote the internet occult movement. The internet religious, they have a religious cult. Okay, these are young white children who are utilizing Christianity as a quote unquote crypto, as a farce, as a face, as a cover. It's the same thing that they did when they was hanging niggas. It's the same thing that they did when they were quote unquote terrorizing our people with white hoods on and whatnot, reading Bible verses. They were utilizing the facade of Christendom as a cover, but they were committing atrocities of a very devilish organization, right? So the ritualistic replacing of MLK before your very own eyes by having the audacity or the caucasity to compare this man with MLK. That's a ritual. It's about narrative. It's about narrative. And nobody from quote unquote black media has stepped up and stood up and said, hell to the nah, we shutting all of that down. Nobody beat on their fucking chest. Nobody put belt to ass like they was Bud Crawford against the quote unquote media in America, right? Nobody put belt to ass. Nobody stood up and said, hell no, he ain't. The fuck? He might not have been perfect, but he ain't nothing like this man. You can't do that. That's a desecration of memory. Manifest destiny, y'all. American gods. I need y'all in the motherfucking building for this one. This one right here. And it's in 2 weeks. I don't even want to stretch this for long. This is at the end of the month. Because by the end of the month, so much shit is already going to be dropping in our laps. This shit fell right into my laps. Look, I am in the rabbit hole. I got notes. I got notes. I got notes, bro. I got notes. I'm taking notes, man. I'm loaded up. I'm not playing with this one right here. This shit got me in the rabbit hole in a good way, though. It got me back in my bag because they are going to, go and watch The Purge again. Go and watch The Purge again. They had a rally in the UK with millions of them. They're going to be flying this nigga's flag like he is a saint. Okay? They're gonna be flying homie's flag like he's a whole fucking saint, bro. This shit is crazy. Then, to make matters worse, the Vatican canonized a young European. I think he's from Italy. I think he was 15. They turned him into Techno Boy. They have a digital right now, ladies and gentlemen. They canonized him right around the same time that they were canonizing Captain fucking Kirk.
Stick! If anyone around here is gonna be a master debater, I'm sick of people stealing my stick! If anyone around here is gonna be a master debater, it's me! So let's go! Who wants to debate the master debater? Let's go! You right there!
That's the stupidest haircut I've ever seen.
You are wrong! Leviticus 3:17 says it shall be a perpetual statute for your generations throughout all your dwellings. So you can shut up, baby! You just hate America and you love abortions!
That's literally, they nailed it. That's literally what the hell we was dealing with. So check this out.
Sat up there and unlied Master Son. I'm heard about that one. They done sat up there and unlied Charlie Kirk. That was one of Master's best sons. He always stood up for what's right. See, y'all gotta understand here. Master help us. Master take care of us. Master love us. You can't sit up there and celebrate nobody's death. They done hurt Master. When you hurt Master and you hurt Master people, you hurt me. Cause I live in Oz. I live in the slave house. And we love Master over here. Good Lord above don't like what y'all doing. Good Lord above don't like how y'all talking about Master Son this way. Y'all gonna get what y'all deserve. This ain't right. It ain't. Master ain't said nothing wrong. Master was gonna free us till y'all said something. That be y'all folks' problem. Y'all ain't got no reverend. Y'all ain't got no reverend for Master. But I tell you what. I was gonna stand on all 12 feet for Master. I was gonna appreciate Master. I was gonna revolt about Master. That's how the fuck y'all sound.
Kirk was at war with Israel and Netanyahu before the tragic events that took place this week. This is major breaking news. A new article from the Gray Zone citing a close friend of Charlie and also a Trump insider said that Netanyahu tried to buy Charlie Kirk off by investing millions of dollars from Zionist organizations into Charlie's organization, TPUSA. Charlie denied the request because he was so offended by what Israel was doing all across the world. Charlie also said that he believed that Prime Minister Netanyahu was trying to silence his criticism of the state of Israel, and he feared Netanyahu. In fact, not too long after this took place, Charlie Kirk went to Donald Trump himself and said, "Do not go to war with Iran on behalf of Israel." Donald Trump got very upset, yelled back at Charlie saying, "You don't know what you're talking about, get out of here." And not too long after, all of the Zionist media and major Zionist organizations in the United States began cutting Charlie off, saying he's not with us anymore, and began attacking him relentlessly in the press. This is huge. In the final days of his life, Charlie was infuriated with Netanyahu. He was describing him as a bully and said he had total control over President Trump through his associates like wealthy donors such as Miriam Adelson. He also added that he feared for his life as a result of all the people that were calling him up and attacking him, and also attacking him in the press relentlessly. All I've got to say is be very suspicious of anyone who's telling you. Charlie Kirk was at war with Israel and Netanyahu before the.
So this is what Candace is gonna stand on and whatnot. I didn't see her show, but I'm under the impression that she said that she's gonna stand on business and she's gonna call them out, and she's going to expose some things, right? But yeah, you know where I stand when it comes to them people. You know what I'm talking about? You know how I feel about them. They involved with everything. You know what I mean? A dog take a shit in the yard, shit got something to do with it. They involved with everything.
Unfortunately, I think it is time to discuss what a groiper is.
Find out what
it is
the
unfortunate.
groipers are.
I
You're
think
gonna
it is
hear a lot about these people. You probably never heard about these cocksuckers. Pause. You probably never heard about these individuals before today, but we're all in class together. And this, look, I don't want anybody to be. My thing is the narrative. I want to educate us about certain talking points. I'm not one of those people. I'm not for the disclaimers, for the algorithms. I'm just a reporter that's giving dissenting views, and I'm being an objective hater, right, on this whole topic, because I hate the people that don't hate this shit. You know what I'm talking about? I hate the niggas that are folding in front of my very own eyes. So let's learn about some of these things that we probably don't even know, but it puts into context. Because once I learned about this shit, I was able to look at them and see exactly what I just learned. I could see it. I know what I'm looking at. But check this.
Discuss what a groiper is, because a lot of people were just finding out this week what a Charlie Kirk was, or at least a very sanitized version. And now we have to discuss what a groiper is, because a lot of people are rightly confused. It is unfortunate that we have to spend any time, any brain capacity on acknowledging this group of manufactured psychopaths or the dark recesses of the internet whence they came. But given that a bunch of MAGA cultists are now trying to explain that the alleged shooter of Charlie Kirk was in fact a leftist because they do not understand what a groiper is, I think we all need to fucking understand what a groiper is. To start, we have to go back to the early 2000s when 4chan was founded, a BBS or online forum targeted towards Holocaust deniers, eugenicists, budding phrenologists, generally disaffected youth with way too much screen time and no adult supervision. It quickly and rightly gained a reputation as being the internet's basement with infinite square footage and coffee tins instead of indoor plumbing. 4chan was low on witty repartee, but heavy on memes, and one of the most notorious ones to come out of this group was Pepe the Frog, a reappropriation of a character from a very benign webcomic that has now become a mascot for basically the worst impulses of humankind. As if 4chan weren't bad enough, somebody drilled a hole directly into the sewer line and created 8chan, which is actually also what gave us QAnon. There is, as you might expect, a lot of overlap with the incel movement and these message boards, but we won't get into that. The point is, it is just a perfect hothouse of nihilism and sadism of the most adolescent kind. To call these groups a community is kind of actually giving them too much credit. They are largely leaderless, although they do have a figurehead in Nick Fuentes. If you're tracking some of the more salacious news after Trump's election earlier this year, you might recognize the name because this little grand poobah of the Groypers got himself in a little hot water. On one of his live streams, America First, he promulgated the phrase, "Your body, our choice," in response to all the women out there. It's basically saying that their consent was no longer required now that Trump was back in office. Obviously, a lot of people were not charmed by this, and he was doxxed, and kind of had to run crying literally to his mother, funny enough. Fuentes has a talent for being angry and smug at the same time, but that's all that distinguishes him. He's not really a leader. He's, again, just a figurehead for a group that prides itself on being decentralized under the banner of a made-up country, Kakistan, which is basically just the homeland of the irony-poisoned and dispossessed. Which finally brings us to why they hated Charlie Kirk. To them, Kirk was not nearly racist enough. He was a corporate mascot, a fraud, a fascist, because he was too implicated in the focus grouped version of conservatism that wasn't standing up to the Jewish globalists. Because again, these are hardcore, the West is best white supremacists here. Most deluded MAGA cultists will not be swayed by this. They really need the shooter to be a leftist, but at least now y'all know better, and I'm sorry y'all had to know better.
Yeah, that should be required reading the documentary on 4chan and 8chan. It's undeniable at this point in the game, their impact, right? The impact of the 4chan community, the impact of the 8chan community, the impact of this occult, esoteric nationalism movement. These are baby magi's. They pride themselves as being warlocks and wizards. They utilize sex magic, Crowley sex magic. They utilize, that's why they're into a lot of that alternative lifestyles and whatnot. A lot of weird shit going on. These are incels. Some of them are 40-year-old virgins. They hate women. They are a part of the red pill community, and not my community, not red pillar, not Phil Moreland, but the red pill movement that deals with men hating women or men going their own way. That whole type of fresh and fit type of mentality, right? You know, little dick energy guys, right? That's what you're dealing with. Let us continue with these videos because we're here to learn, and we're learning today.
Coincidence that Black people all over the planet, but especially in the United States, have been embracing our relationship with our ancestors more than ever in recent history, and simultaneously this country's going to hell. I don't think it's a coinky-dink. We're feeding our ancestors, Black people. We're reestablishing our ancestral roots, our connections to our ancestors. The more attention that we give to our ancestors, the more focus we give to our ancestors, the more we feed our ancestors and foster that connection, the more power they have in the spiritual ancestral realm, the more power they have to look after us and take care of us and handle shit so we don't even have to get our hands dirty. Christianity has had Black people in a fucking chokehold for 400 years, and that has severed us from our ancestral connections. And as a result, our ancestors have not had enough fuel.
So when you hear them say that there's a culture war, when you hear them say that they are at war, that's part of the culture war. The Florida's freaking out, the DeSantis and whatnot. The part of the culture war is us showing up wearing locks, wearing onks, wearing pieces like this. They're in the fucking airport looking like they ready to run away from me, bro. The culture war is us claiming where them fans at on the trails and whatnot with the fans wearing feathers. The culture war is us embracing hoodoo, the movie Sinners and whatnot. Listen, the culture war is us hitting Crystal Mountain, the face of the KKK, letting them know that we don't give a fuck about none of this shit. You know what I'm talking about? We here to disrupt all of it. That's what the culture war is about. That's why the evangelicals and the Trumps, that's why they had brain dead Negroes worshiping or giving up their lucha and whatnot to Captain Kirk and whatnot and pledging allegiance just by saying rest in piss. Instead of saying rest in piss, saying the other thing, you forfeited. What did I tell you about your enemies? They're consistent and they're persistent. They never take a day off to say rest in peace to you niggas. They'll never take a day. They'll never take a moment of silence. They'll never take a motherfucking knee. They'll never tip their hat to their ops. No, it's roll that nigga up, light him up. You know what I'm talking about? Huh. Let's start the bonfire. They don't take no days off. They don't have no remorse. They don't deal with none of that shit. You do though, right? So Trump and them are fearing the Christian right. They don't want niggas to wake up. And the more that they see that y'all waking up, they'll push the button. They will not live in a world where you get back in touch with your power. They're not trying to live next to you niggas. They remember they still have aches in their bones over the Seminole Wars. They're scalps. They go bald and whatnot because you was out here scalping them. They remember that. They feel it in their bones. They're in fear when they go to sleep. You're not in fear when you go to sleep. You don't have the same fears that they have. They fear the sun, nigga. You fear the moon. You don't have the same fears as them.
To do what need to be done. But now, black people are waking up. We starting to be like, you know what? I don't know about this motherfucking Bible. Something's not adding up here. Black people putting the Quran down. Black people putting the Bible down. And black people are starting to pick up some motherfucking roots. I know I set up my ancestor altar a few years ago. I had a calling to do it. They kept whispering in my ear saying, baby girl, put something up for us. And I know a lot of other black people have been doing this. Black people, it is our time to embrace our true lineage, our true connection to our ancestors, and our connection to this earth. Mother Earth loves us. She protects us, but we have to love her back. The more attention and focus and energy that we feed to our ancestors, that we feed to Mother Earth, the more protection we will have and the more work they will do on our behalf. They will handle everything.
Want to smoke.
Trumpet sounds of golden harps. I saw in a Zion's crystal balls of lightning.
Definition of a crystal: order, symmetry at the biological level. Melanin is a complex crystalline biopolymer. It is found in the nuclei of all cells, and concentrations of melanin may be found in the brain. Melanin is that X factor that opens up those subtle realms and means of communication. Again, intuition, clairvoyance, clairaudience. Yes, I.
Balls of lightning, thunder in different sort, 4 and 20 Haitians around this part. Every cloud
Future ain't coming, it's
over the
by those who
the south side, seraphim thrones are not.
Another word from our sponsors, ladies and gentlemen.
The future ain't coming, it's already here. Power don't wait, it's taken by those who claim it. Write your fate, or be forgotten.
Try to bury it. If they learn to use the AI, we are doomed.
Every age brings change, but this time, it's different. Power belongs to those who master AI.
It's too late. They are teaching them everything. We cannot stop them.
And create whole worlds, not in years, but in days.
No gatekeepers. No Hollywood. We tell our own story now.
If you miss this train, there isn't another one coming.
Every empire began with vision. This time, it begins with you.
Keep them ignorant. Blind them with fear and distractions. It's already too late. They are having an AI masterclass workshop.
Step into mastery. Join a movement of creators, inventors, and visionaries.
This is your fate. Claim it.
This workshop is teaching them how to use their imagination effectively. We are doomed
They cannot be allowed to learn this power.
It's already too late! Stephon Bomar and Red Pill are breaking the seal!
Jobs ain't safe anymore, and AI ain't the enemy. It's the one using it that's gonna replace you.
This is the AI Master, Gods of Intelligence Workshop, ready to guide you.
Sign up now.
Yes. Shout out to Brother Rich. Shout out to Sevon. Shout out to everybody that is on deck and on board with us. Shout out to the Discord that we got the prompt guards on Discord. The Discord is gonna be lit. We got a lot of great things coming up for that masterclass, November the 1st, November the 2nd. And rumor has it there's gonna be a whole after party in Atlanta for that event right there. We're gonna be popping bottles of water, you know what I'm talking about, and we're gonna be doing it big because it's time to celebrate. We gotta celebrate our victories, y'all.
Through his throat in front of cameras while answering a question. It said freedom. Then a bullet ripped through his throat in front of cameras. Charlie Kirk. He wore a white shirt. It said freedom. Then a bullet ripped through his throat in front of cameras while answering a question about transgenderism. That wasn't a coincidence. That was a ritual.
Wait, what? Charlie Kirk got assassinated?
One shot to the voice box while speaking about what they hate most. Identity, speech, truth, live, global, during a full blood moon. Days before September 11th.
And behind him, a man raised his hands. 2 fingers. Subtle gesture. 2 seconds later, shot. That's a signal.
But they caught the shooter, right? It's over?
Oh, really? Then explain this. No manifesto, no motive, no deep online history, no press follow-up, no images from his house, no interviews with his family, no backstory, no explanation how he traveled 260 miles in 2 days, no answer who paid for his flight, hotel, weapon, just a name, just a mugshot, just another ghost. And Kirk, he was on record attacking Israeli donors.
And Jewish donors, they have a lot of explaining to do, a lot of decoupling to do, because Jewish donors have been the #1 funding mechanism of radical, open border, neoliberal, quasi-Marxist policies, cultural institutions, and nonprofits. This is a beast created by secular Jews. And now it's coming. It's all of it. Time for you guys to wake up.
He warned, I know what happens when you say too much, but I won't stop.
And guess what book trended days before his death? The Assassination of Charlie Kirk. Satire. Released right before. They laughed before they pulled the trigger.
Nah, man, that's too perfect.
Exactly. White equals sacrificial purity. Freedom equals target. Shot through voice equals silence. Public equals message. Blood moon equals occult timing. Cameras equals mass programming. It mirrored scenes from Utopia, Mr. Robot, and Enemy of the State.
Wait, so why now?
Because they need a spark, a patriot martyr, to light the fuse. The election's coming. The economy's imploding. Civil tension is peaking. They want blood on the banners.
Then they'll use his death to frame, divide, weaponize.
He was sacrificed to show you freedom can bleed, and nobody will save it.
What if this wasn't the end? What if this was just the opening ceremony?
He died in front of you for a reason. The voice is gone, but the message is still echoing.
Hey y'all, about that Charlie Kirk unaliving, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it's fake. I screen recorded it off Instagram the day I saw it happen, right? The day that it happened. And last night I was sitting here looking at the video, just looking at it over and over in the background, while the camera everybody's view seems to drop as soon as he gets hit. And I'm just looking at it, and then I noticed something with his hand. Check this shit out, man. You can't tell me it ain't something wrong with this. Watch this. All right, so you see his ring. It's on his ring finger, right? On his left hand. Watch this. I'm slowing it down. This is me doing it from my phone. Look at this. Look. How does the ring change from his ring finger to his pinky? Look. You know, AI always had a problem with the hands. You can't believe nothing you see nowadays. You can't believe nothing you see nowadays. Wow. Man, this is blowing my mind. Nah, man, nah, that didn't happen. That didn't happen. Nah, something ain't right with that. Nah, I refuse, yo. That is crazy. How does your ring change fingers, though? That's impossible, man. So they showing people standing around. They showed a guy with his arms folded, looked like he could have, hit him from without even looking at him. But this right here is not possible at all. Okay, because that sounds crazy that he could hit him without even looking at him like that, right? With his arms folded, with the GUN under his arm, all of that stuff, right? But nobody's ring is gonna change fingers like that. Go back, if you got this video screen recorded, go back and look at your version. I'm telling you, yo, this did not happen. It's been manipulated. Something's going on, man. And why would they do that? What's the point of it? You don't believe anything y'all see on this internet, yo. Peace.
Found out who shot him. Let me see the picture. Let me see the picture. I'm gonna beat the hell out of some black women. Why the music? I'm the good guy. I'm about to go to HBCU and raise some hell. Nah, we ain't gonna let this slide. It's Civil War time. Yeah, I saw the picture. What you asked me that for? Do I need glasses? What the fuck that mean? I swear to God, these immigrants gonna pay for this. I hate them. I got so much anger in me, I don't know what to do with it. I'm the good guy. There was a mass shooting the same day. What the fuck you talking about that for? Let's go get these black guys. The governor in Utah talking about how he wish it was an immigrant. We could just imagine it. I'm the good guy. They declared war on us. Now we gotta go get some Puerto Ricans. Let me see the picture again. Nah, that's a black man. Could be a black woman. You never know with these lives. His mission will go on and I'm fully saved.
So here's our friend Charlie.
Social welfare we've done.
For those that are not familiar with him,
Right,
it was like a lot of people just heard about him recently, and that's cool.
Charlie Kirk unalive.
You know, everybody's not at war and they don't study their enemy and whatnot, and that's cool.
What you
know what I mean? If you don't identify yourself as being on the battlefield, then of course you won't know who's on the battlefield with you. But for those of us that are on the battlefield and we've been dealing with this type of propaganda or propagandized warfare and whatnot, you know, we very familiar with homie. We very familiar with his rhetoric. We very familiar with all of that. But check this out. All right, check this out.
Spent $20 trillion on uplifting black communities.
In mind,
the more
when they lionize him, which they've already done, when vice president and all of them have said that this man is a martyr, he's a national hero, and they flying flags half staff. Everything that he said is going into the Library of Congress. And what they've done is they've normalized race hate or hate speech. They've normalized it, they've sanitized it, and they've basically made it part of canon law. That's what they did, while right in your face, using your grief or your fear to say something, right? Utilizing your fear, and they basically ushered in this man as a national hero. Check them out.
Social welfare we've done. So we've spent $20 trillion on uplifting black communities. 20 trillion, and black Americans are poor. We've done everything that's been asked.
You haven't done everything that's been asked, though.
Great society.
Because what is being
stamps,
asked?
Subsidized housing, Medicaid, public schooling, subsidized college. We're talking about $20 trillion that has been spent on the Great Society, and yet Black America is poor, more murderous, more dangerous. So there's an explanation. I'm asking you to
But we are
explain
not asking for handouts. We are asking for equity.
What
And part
does
of
that- what does
equity
equity mean?
is
You mean taking from
allowed.
other people?
Excuse me. It means sharing, which is something that you guys seem to have a very hard time doing.
Sharing. So somebody has to explain why Black America, and you haven't, is 13% of the population and commits 58% of the murders.
Black people have built and founded this society.
Thank you.
And a lot of that stuff was performance because, you know, they was at when the camera stopped rolling, those same people that he's debating, they want to take pictures. They want to take pictures. They want to, you know what I mean? It's still celebrity. It's still part of that celebrity culture. So he wasn't really their ops like that. You know what I mean? Wasn't really their ops.
Does the president of the United States fear for his life?
Yes. Yes. I mean, obviously he fears for his life. And I was told that he feared for his life before the 2 assassination attempts, one coming within a millimeter of striking his head. I mean, let's not forget about that.
But I mean, just to clarify, he doesn't fear for his life because of Ireland.
I mean, I've been told, yes, that Israel is a major source of concern for Trump. I mean, think about it. What would happen?
This is our ally.
If he suspended
arms
if he suspended arms to a country that carries out assassinations all across the globe, that specializes in assassinations, that has an entire wing of its intelligence services that conducts assassinations, including with household goods like pagers, would you not be scared? So yes, Trump is scared. And what I learned from this source, who is a Trump insider, someone
we are asking for equity. And part of it,
she look like she's an actor. That's the same thing I said when I saw it. This is control opposition. Nobody's really debating Charlie Kirk. This is all control opposition. They had tea in the back. They're eating crumpets together. You know what I'm talking about? They cracking jokes, hee haw, and then when the cameras come on, then it's control opposition. The shit is not real. Don't fall for it. You know what I mean? Don't be a, you know, it's just television. But check this out. So I haven't really heard anyone say this before we get out of here. First, let's get this sister.
South Koreans chanting, "We are Charlie Kirk." I'm going to show you the video in the next video that's posted after this. South Korea is protesting for Charlie Kirk, shocked about his passing. I didn't even know South Koreans knew about freaking Charlie Kirk. Is there some type of element of South Korea I had no idea about? I know they have a strong connection with the U.S., not just with trade, but I mean, there's a bunch of military bases there. Like, we're friendly. There's friendly relations between the U.S. and South Korea, but Charlie Kirk, wow. We're going to talk more about this on my Rumble channel. If you want to tune in, comment the word Rumble below and check your DMs.
I was born and raised in Utah, so I want to give you the 411 on conservative thinking. And don't mind the noise because I'm walking in the park in New York City, stopping in this little alcove to talk to y'all. So, my family is originally from Memphis. They moved to Utah in the 50s and 60s during the Great Migration. But yes, there's still only 3.5 Black people there. While I was there, before I went to New York City during college, I essentially studied conservatives for 18 years of my life. They were my teachers, they were my classmates, they were my neighbors, and there's 3 key values and beliefs that drive their behavior and actually require them to have very low empathy to keep those beliefs. The first is they believe in inherent hierarchies. So often they think that inequalities are caused by people being less smart, less capable, and not designed by policy or practice or discrimination. So often when you are talking to them about human rights, they don't think human rights are necessary unless the person is at the top of the hierarchy. That's why you're seeing all this selective empathy when it comes to conservative bigots getting assassinated and them getting compared to MLK on social media. The second and third beliefs that drive a lot of their thinking is rigidity and simplicity. There is no room for nuance. Everything should be black and white, and there shouldn't really be any gray areas in how we're making decisions. And that's often because conservative brains, research has shown, have stronger responses to novelty and changes in their environment. So they see those as threats versus just change being an inevitable and necessary part of life. So hierarchy, black and white thinking, and simplicity in beliefs doesn't really allow a lot of compassion and empathy for others. It allows compassion and empathy for people who are like them and think like them and look like them, but there's very little window of tolerance for empathy for other people, and it's because their beliefs make it okay to be that way. Now, if you're a bit confused on why you see these conservatives getting on the internet and having selective empathy for some groups and not giving a damn about any others, it's because of those three key beliefs. So I study and teach ethical and cultural wisdom as a tool for practicing a new form of leadership. And if you're interested in hearing more takes about all types of topics, follow me and go to my link in bio.
Yes. Thank you, sis. I like that. I like the way that she crafted her argument. This is about understanding the mentality of these people that we're dealing with. This is also about understanding and understanding how they are operating their PSYOPs operation. We started the show out earlier speaking about the dead internet theory and how this situation is it's literally the cherry on the top of that conversation. It is hyperstition and real. It's the manifestation of so many intersecting conversations and whatnot. As a result of this necromancy, this dead internet that we're on, that we're all contributing to, right? The YouTubes, the Googles, the IGs, the Facebooks, all dead, filled with bots, not real people, and a bunch of dead people that we used to know. You know what I mean? A lot of necromancy, a lot of memories, a lot of people floating around that are not even alive anymore, pictures just popping up of dead people and whatnot, stories that are not true, AI slop, what they talked about, cosmic slop, AI slop, brain rot on the internet, echo chambers, shadow ban, algorithmic meme activity, algorithmic memic activities, right? Where they're using memes, the positioning of memes as a weapon, the weaponization of memes, the meme gods, the ones that come from the underworlds of 4chan, of 8chan, memology, right? Wielding the memes like magicians would wield a sigil, right? Utilizing meme warfare, right? Utilizing meme warfare, but definitely utilizing the bot farms and the algorithms to persuade public opinion. That is exactly what you saw take place before your very own eyes, where public opinion was literally swayed within the span of about 48 hours and whatnot, and they canonize an individual who under any other circumstance would be they would be denounced, and you would have to denounce this person. The irony of the whole thing that they made a person like Obama denounce Reverend Wright, but JD Vance literally was carrying the casket of this young man. Okay, crazy. Check this video out, and then we're about to dip. This is part one of an ongoing series. I'm going to title it, I'm going to give it a thumbnail and everything. This is going to be part one of a 4-part series leading up to the September the 28th lecture, which is going to be on a Sunday. All right. We decided to do it on a Sunday at the end of the month. The 28th is on a Sunday. The 28th is on a Sunday. September the 28th, me and Blue Pill will be bringing MAGA Fest Destiny, American Gods. I think is number 10. American Gods, number 10. MAGA Fest Destiny. Look out for that. That is going to be mind blowing. If you know anything, you know Pope Pablo is in his bag. You know Pope Pablo got that 44 shit on lock. You know Pope Pablo literally called it when he was doing the Blood Moon show with the good brother the other day. Pope Pablo called it. Captain Kirk's wife got the demonic energy on her. Ooh, I know that all of the thirsties, they on her, you know, all of them thirsty Joe Rogan types, Yeah, they on his widow's back right now. Pause. Shout out to Bud Crawford. Shout out to Bud Crawford. Type shit. Shout out to Crawford. You know what I'm talking about? Shout out to Bud Crawford. You know what I mean? God damn, I don't know what I would have did if Bud lost. Shout out to Bud putting the beats on that boy. Straighten up, tighten up. You know what I'm talking about? Tighten up, Canelo. So yeah, let's go into divine retribution conversations.
Say this, but the callous me.
And I don't ever want to hear moving forward. I'm denouncing everybody who showed their hand when it came to this individual and played themselves, right? I'm not fucking with none of these woke niggas. I'm drawing the line. Melanated people is gonna help you. They're gonna help show you who to draw the line, who to stay far away from, who to permanently cancel, who to never listen to again. Our people are gonna help us. They're gonna show us what level of coonery that they're on. In a situation like this, everybody showed their hands.
So, I haven't really heard anyone say this, but the callous memes and jokes about Charlie Kirk's murder are a direct byproduct of the didn't do nothing era. And if you don't know what didn't do nothing means, then you need to watch this video. And if you do, you should stay because a lot of this will resonate with you. So let's rewind to the early 2010s. Imagine you come home, you turn the news, and you hear about Trayvon Martin, who was a 17-year-old that was shot and killed by a vigilante while holding a bag of Skittles. Or you see the footage of 12-year-old Tamir Rice, who was shot and killed by police while holding a toy gun. Or Eric Garner being choked to death while saying that he couldn't breathe. Or Sandra Bland, who was wrongfully arrested and later found dead in jail. For many of you who were adults at the time, the tragedy and horror, as terrible as it was, pretty much ended there with the killings themselves and reconciling the injustice that happened. But the rest of us, Gen Z and millennials, who were mostly children at the time, the killings were just where the trauma began. Because that's when the internet exploded with the most shocking and vile memes and jokes about these people who had just died. And the didn't do nothing meme was practically the face of this era. It was a ignorant and purposely fake African-American English way of saying he didn't do anything. As a way for online trolls and racists to mock grieving black families who claim that their loved ones were unarmed and undeserving of death. But make no mistake, it was not just this one meme. There was actually a whole ecosystem of cruel and edgy content that was meant to desensitize people and normalize making fun of black people dying. For example, this was a trend called Trayvoning, where white teenagers would dress up in a hoodie and lie face down with Skittles and a can of soda to mock the way in which Trayvon Martin's dead body was found. And more recently, we had the George Floyd challenge, which is pretty self-explanatory. This sort of online cruelty was found.
How fucking dare. How dare you niggas try to lecture us about how to fucking grieve. How dare. How dare, bro. How fucking dare, bro. Like, are you serious, son? Man.
Foundational for the alt-right pipeline.
You want to talk about chickens? Like I said, I got a muzzle. I can't say much, but god damn it, bro. I'm ready to smoke the bro. Huh.
No regard for the families of the victims of police violence and little regard for the facts. And this dehumanizing content was born in the dark corners of websites like Reddit and 4chan. But what started out as edgy jokes in those places spilled over.
So back to my initial conversation, I'm gonna let this video finish. He's eating and whatnot. Like how the youth be like, he's eating. Remember, necromancy culture is drill music where they made fun of the dead. This got his rise with the killing of Little JoJo and the rise of Chief Keef in the Chicago drill scene. Around the same time, they were also on Reddit and 4chan and 8chan sharing Trayvon Martin's murder pictures. And they created a necromancy cult around sharing pictures of our dead people. Then in 2014, they got in bed with the quote unquote LBGT and they created BLM. And BLM is a necromancy movement that cut their teeth off of the bodies of black men and black women, specifically Brianna and Sandra and a few others, right? They didn't pick up the sister's case, the Moore, who got killed in front of her children and whatnot. Remember her? They didn't pick her case up. Nobody said anything about her, right? I think her name was Karen, right? No, they didn't. BLM didn't pick that up. But BLM, rest in peace to Darren Seals. They got Darren Seals and the real ones out the way. And then they started a necromancy movement and they misnomered it Black Lives Matter, but it was really a necromancy movement where they siphoned the energy of dead black people, right? They siphoned off the energy and they made $90 million off of the corpse, off of the cadavers of our people. It started with Trayvon underneath Obama, and it goes all the way past George Floyd. Not Kanika Jenkins, the sister who got killed with her children. She was a Moor. She got killed in her house. Okay. They cut her down. They came to her house and cut her down and whatnot, right? Because she was on film destroying them. She was destroying them on film, so they came to her house and executed her in front of her child. Corinne Gaines, right? Corinne Gaines. So all of this trauma, remember, like he said, in 2012, the YNs were 10. In 2012, the YNs were 9, right? Whatever happened to the lady in the boiling water, right? The same lady who they used to start pumping Kamala up. That was the Kamala ritual. And since Kamala didn't make it and whatnot, they just threw that lady's body to the side. You don't even hear about the case no more because they literally were using her case the same way that they used Floyd to push Joe Biden. They was using that to push Kamala the cop. So check this out. The YNs of today were 10 years old during the Trayvon era, right? They have been traumatized and they've been proliferated. And the last straw was C-19 in 2020. But they literally were coming up, disrespecting and desecrating dead people, right? Which incurred all types of karma for them. But at the same time that they were doing that, their friends who they play video games with, their friends who they are, you know, that they go to young boy concerts with, their friends who they give passes to let them know whether they could say nigger or not. The same time that they were doing that, their white friends, their homies, their allies were on 4chan, 8chan, and other places sharing every single picture of one of our people who got lynched by the popo, because law enforcement share the death pictures. You saw the case pop up where they finally caught them, and they exposed that with the Kobe Bryant case, right? Where they took the pictures of Kobe Bryant and his daughter and they shared it on the dark web. They did the same thing with the twins on the mountain in Georgia when they unalived 2 twins. The fireman got locked up because they were able to trace through metadata, they were able to trace the pictures, the fact that he put their cadaver, he put their death pictures, he put something that's very sacred. Nobody should be taking pictures of nobody's body. When did they start that? Like where the fuck does that come from? I remember going to a funeral in the 90s and somebody pulled a camera out and started taking pictures, and they damn near jumped them. Like they damn near 86'd them out the funeral, because who the fuck takes pictures of cadavers, of people, of dead bodies? So I'm going to continue with this video, and we're going to pick this up on part 2, which is going to be more heavier, more information, more research. Hopefully I'll mince my words so I'm walking within the parameters or the guardrails and I don't step outside of the line. But I'm putting together a video essay. I'm putting together thorough research, but more so we have a lecture at the end of the month where we're going to take a super duper deep dive me and the good brother Blue Pill, and we're gonna break this shit down to its very, very last compound. You know what I'm talking about? We are going to break this thing down. So please look out for that. Okay, be there for that. MAGA Fest Destiny. That's gonna be part deuce. You know what I'm talking about? That'll be part due. Okay, the MAGA Fest. You feel me? This was the first one. When in Rome, right? This was February 10th. When in Rome, we was in New Orleans for that. Now the follow-up, okay, the follow-up is going to be done in the quote-unquote, we're doing this one online. We're doing this one online. And yeah, we standing on business. We're gonna stand on this business. We're gonna break this shit down. American Gods, MAGA Fest Destiny 2.0. I think when you arrive on Mars with that whole Stargate shit with Elon, this nigga is gonna be there to greet you. Captain Kirk is gonna be on Mars to greet you. Like, yo, I did it. I did it for the movement. I did it for America. His wife looked like she in on it. She looked like she in on it. She, you know what I'm talking about? She trying to become the new Charlie Kirk. His wife looked like she, you know what I mean? Like, think about it. Think about it.
Into YouTube comments, Facebook threads, and eventually mainstream conservative discourse. And while Charlie Kirk may alt-right pipeline.
So when we want to know why the children are so crazy, when we want to know why did they go full GTA in 2020, when we want to know why are the young generation so detached, why are they so desensitized, why are they so dehumanized, they went through this campaign right here. The young man explained. He said this shit was really heavy on the younger generation because they didn't understand what was going on, and they got introduced to people mocking the dead, smoking on the dead, mocking the dead, making fun of the dead, meme magic on the dead, pictures of Trayvon's lifeless corpse laying there and whatnot, and them showing that on social media. This is a new phenomenon.
Turn the news and you hear about Trayvon Martin, who was a 17-year-old that was shot and killed by a vigilante while holding a bag of Skittles. Or you see the footage of 12-year-old Tamir Rice, who was shot and killed by police while holding a toy gun. Or Eric Garner being choked to death while saying that he couldn't breathe. Or Sandra Bland, who was wrongfully arrested and later found dead in jail. For many of you who were adults at the time, the tragedy and horror, as terrible as it was, pretty much ended there with the killings themselves and reconciling the injustice that happened. But the rest of us, Gen Z and millennials, who were mostly children at the time, the killings were just where the trauma began. Because that's when the internet exploded with the most shocking and vile memes and jokes about these people who had just died. And the didn't do nothing meme was practically the face of this era. It was a ignorant and purposely fake African-American English way of saying he didn't do anything. As a way for online trolls and racists to mock grieving black families who claim that their loved ones were unarmed.
Remember that whole thing with Doja Cat right around the time of George Floyd's assassination? Didn't do nothing. Didn't do nothing. She got outed for being in a chat room, and they had this whole thing about the didn't do nothing. And she's basically, you know, Doja Cat is a pass around. She's like a ghetto gagger and whatnot. So they was about to cancel her. If y'all remember that, they was about to cancel her.
Armed and undeserving of death. But make no mistake, it was not just this one meme. There was actually a whole ecosystem of cruel and edgy content that was meant to desensitize people and normalize making fun of black people dying. For example, this was a trend called Trayvoning, where white teenagers would dress up in a hoodie and lie face down with Skittles and a can of soda to mock the way in which Trayvon Martin's dead body was found. And more recently, we had the George Floyd challenge, which is pretty self-explanatory. This sort of online cruelty was foundational for the alt-right pipeline, with no regard for the families of the victims of police violence and little regard for the facts. And this dehumanizing content was born in the dark corners of websites like Reddit and 4chan, but what started out as edgy jokes in those places spilled over into YouTube comments, Facebook threads, and eventually mainstream conservative discourse. And while Charlie Kirk might not have been at the beginning of this phenomenon, nor was he necessarily the furthest right, he absolutely benefited from its culture and actively participated in its expansion. He spread content that told lies and was meant to smear figures like Breonna Taylor and George Floyd soon after, if not immediately after they were killed. And just to add on to that, a lot of people are focusing on only the direct quotes from Charlie Kirk himself, but that leaves out the organization that he founded and just how badly it contributed to this issue. Now, back then until now, many activists have said the solution is to teach people about why it's wrong to dehumanize others and implement stronger and smarter content moderation against hate speech. Instead, right-wing voices and Silicon Valley executives called that woke and just tore down all the rules. Of course, this made things worse and fueled even worse radicalization. For example, I recently wrote about the George Droid meme and how crazy and depraved this culture of mocking death had become in the wake of recent changes on platforms that allow unfiltered hate speech. But all of that fell on deaf ears, of course, until now. But I want to make something very clear. It is definitive that this morbid internet culture originates on the right. More specifically, the meme lords of 4chan and Reddit, the politicians and public figures that normalized and emboldened them, and the social media companies that make money by fanning the flames of all of this. And that has radicalized and desensitized both sides of the political spectrum. And we tried to warn you before it backfired. But that's all I can fit in this video. If you want my full essay on the topic, go to my Substack at historycan'thide.com. Or if you're on Instagram, just comment the word newsletter below to be DM'd a link. But what do you think about all of this? And did any of you guys also live through the Didn't Do Nothing era? Let me know in the comments and follow for more.
The most important person right now is the black press. You are literally saving lives. You are literally at the forefront of a war. The new media. I don't know what a black press is. The new media. And I'm not talking about that nigga Roland Martin and them. I'm not talking about Isaac Hayes and these niggas. I'm not talking about none of these. Nobody that's towing the line. The new media who is completely out in the middle of the ocean. Feel me? The investigative reporters, the no fear type of reporting. Y'all are the most important thing right now because they have turned it up a few notches. The propaganda has been turned up a few notches. This shit is not a game. So real quick, and shout out to the young brother for breaking that shit down. He made some excellent points and he did his homework, and I anticipate some of you in the audience to do such. Don't be scared, don't be scared, don't be deterred. This is what the fuck you signed up for. You know what I mean? Don't act. Nigga.
Atlanta is Atlantis, hidden in the granite. Before the clan landed, we already ran it. Moorish gold in the soil, secrets they can't manage. We rose from the mountain, return to reclaim the planet. Atlanta is Atlantis. Atlanta is Atlantis. Dr. Malachi York said I came through the portal. Ether 9 vibration, Anunnaki codes downloaded in meditation. You call it Georgia, but I call it the 19th gate. Where new opens build pyramids, reshaping fate. I've seen Atlantis rise from the red clay crusted. We ain't just black, we celestial dust. Teaching the babies the math of 720. Before the devil's flag, the earth was plenty. I cracked open scrolls.
That part. I'm talking about. Real quick, word from our sponsors, and we out.
The gods of intelligence aren't myths. They're here. Artificial intelligence is rewriting the rules of power right now. Will you master it or be mastered by it? Most are drowning in AI hype, hesitating, confused, while the future slips into the hands of those who act first. That's why Blackmagic 363 presents AI Masters, the Gods of Intelligence, with Seven Bomar and Red Pillar, two visionaries revealing how to align with AI to elevate your life and your spot for AI masters, the gods of intelligence. The future belongs to those who move first.
Vegas and crypto, diamonds is dancing like they up in disco. You niggas in fist pump, you stay up and dip low. You niggas stay up and get low. Heard you way up in Frisco, and you say what the heck so. Every player gets snipped out, acting gay up in Cisco. Might take the day off and play up at Mistos, causing chaos and play up Calypso.
I pause in kitchens and caused addictions. I pause prescriptions and cause inflictions. Lil Bixby playing in stores and bricks and on the dark web. You gotta pause every doors, cause encryptions. Tesla engines, pause the pistons. I seen every floor I leave sore and listing. For that action, they sponsored the Bronson. They was hooked on that shit like Johnson and Johnson. That freeway, Ricky Ross, straight out of Compton, straight out of Bumpton. Red on blue violence in the land. The projection of the will, the perfection of the kill, the reflection of the pills. I'm a frontline soldier, I'm no doja. These crystals not from
Vegas and crypto, diamonds is dancing like they up in disco. You niggas in fist pump, you stay up and dip low. You niggas stay up and get low. Heard you way up in Frisco, and you say what the heck so. Every player gets snipped out, acting gay up in Cisco. Might take the day off and play up at Pistols, causing chaos and play up Calypso.
Hickory dickory dock, hit a lick, put the sticky in the box. When the blicky get hot, lick off a shot. Heavy in the meadow, we slip off a knot. Heavy in the ghetto, they crib walk a lot. Crib walk the crypto, lift off the stocks. Drips off the crystal and pots. Disco rods in the blocks on my chain from the crystal shop. In the light air, lift off the rock. Toe from the right chain on my block. White paint on my socks. White paint on my socks. Hickory dickory dock, hit the lick, put the sticky in the box. When the blicky get hot, lick off a shot, we lick off a shot.
Vegas and crypto, diamonds is dancing like they up in disco. You niggas in fist pump, you stay up and dip low. You niggas stay up and get low. Heard you way up in Frisco, and you say what the heck so. Every player gets snipped out, acting gay up in Cisco. Might take the day off and play up at Pistols, causing chaos and play up Calypso.